Here at ExactData, we specialize in generating synthetic data sets that are realistic for your testing applications. And today we are going over our method for generating synthetic enterprise network level traffic. Our mission is to bring correlated enterprise network traffic describing the interactions between hundreds of users or employees on an enterprise network, which may or may not have bad actors embedded within. And to do this, we use our Adams data model, which describes the host-based sensor logs over months and hundreds to thousands of employees and the interactions in between. And the Adams data model will output the host-based sensor logs for such email, web traffic, logins, logouts, and other sensors or attributes like that. And we convert these logs into a packet level description known as a muscle file. And a muscle file is a high level abstraction of the packets within described by Spear and Cyberflood. And we partner with Spear and Cyberflood to take these muscle files that describe hundreds of users over the course of months or years and be able to replay that information over the wire. And so we generate our data, convert it into a packet level abstraction, and then use Spear and Cyberflood to generate this data. And we do this because if we look at normal intrusion detection systems, we find that administrators, IT people will be overwhelmed by the number of alerts and logs within, and will embed and hide the actor or the bad actors. And so we want to create a solution to be able to test certain applications that will allow us to discover insider threats or other bad actors. So how do we do this? Our proprietary data generator uses certain different types of knobs and configurable attributes that allow us to generate different types of data with different severities and within. So looking at our data, we can configure how long the time frame do we want to generate traffic over, describing the user activity over a couple months or a couple years. We can configure the number of employees, and then the more interesting thing is configuring the amount of needles or the kind of bad actors within. And so we can configure such things like the number of times that a bad actor will exfiltrate data into a Dropbox, or email critical information to themselves to home, or even look for other jobs. And we want to be able to generate that data. But all this information, all this bad actor information is embedded deep within in the sensor log. So this is the raw data outputted directly from our data model, our Adams data model, and it contains timestamps of when certain emails were taken or sent, which computer it originated from, and the email to and from, who the email is going from and who is going to, and then also the content. We also generate the content within. And this content within contains interesting information that's relevant to previous emails, previous other activities within our data set, and then we want to be able to show this over time and then play it over the network over time. And we do this by converting it into these muscle files, which then Cyberflood can consume. So let's take a quick look at what a muscle file looks like. A muscle file is simply an abstraction of the real packets within. And so here we can define such attributes as IP addresses, and then where the information is going to go, and then we format that into the content that would make up an email traffic, our web traffic, and then we can finally be able to play this synthetic data with realistic looking interactions and be able to consume that over the wire in real time. So let's load this information, this muscle file, into Spear and Cyberflood, and let's take a look at what that looks like. Here's the dashboard for Spear and Cyberflood. And Spear and Cyberflood allows you to be able to play the amount or define the amount of time that you can play, what your network configuration looks like, the bandwidth, and things like that. However, our more focus looks into what we can generate out of the wire. And Spear and Cyberflood allows you to define the amount of normal looking traffic that would otherwise really embed bad actors or make it very difficult to find other attackers or malicious activity. Here is the traffic mix feature of Spear and Cyberflood, and this allows us to define the distribution of the normal traffic within our interesting synthetic data. And so we can define different types of HTTP traffic, FTP traffic, and miscellaneous other traffic, which will be played at rate, speed, at gigabits per second. And really, while this is going on, our data is playing, being interjected in between this, developing a story of what are the interactions between users, the content within, and we provide labels of when that information happens. So now I'm going to switch over. We've already been playing our traffic, and we're going to look over on the other side of an intrusion detection system to see what we have captured. Here's the dashboard of Kibana, which is using a Bro intrusion detection system. While we were running this, while Cyberflood was running, we captured a ton of just generic traffic, which caused over 167,000 alerts. And so this information will be overwhelming to a user, to a manual user, trying to figure out what happened. So if we look at inside, if we go a little bit deeper, we can now find our data. And so here we're going to look into SMTP traffic or email traffic that we have generated. So here we can see this is just filtering out all the logs to look at just email traffic that we have captured throughout while Cyberflood was running. And here we can see that there was a spike. Let's take a look at what that spike was. If we look at what the to and from email addresses, we can see that these are all email addresses that we have defined in our data model that we're interacting with each other, that have some sort of meaningful connection. They have some reason why they're emailing, and then we can also uncover where they are, what they're trying to do, and if they were trying to do something malicious, we would be able to show that at this point this person has sent out an email saying that they're going to leave the company or something like that. And this was all captured over the wire. This was not contained within a log file. This is something that can be consumed by a real intrusion detection system, next generation detection system, or some sort of application that requires some stress testing with some interesting information. So, in summary, ExactData, we generate realistic data sets, and today we are showing our application of generating a realistic but synthetic data set that describes enterprise traffic over the course of months or years, which is a capability that has not been seen before.